I'm Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Haley, and today we're doing the top 5 Wednesdays for July the 18th.
What top 5 are we doing?
I can't remember.
Just like the top 5 removed from
Yes.
TBR.
Oh, yeah. Top 5 books you removed from your TBR.
So,
assumedly not because you read them.
man, that would be such a cop
Much
out.
easier. That would just be like my top 5 favorite books I've ever read.
So I'm actually sorting mine based on when they were added to my TBR because, I mean, how do you rank books that you decided not to read? So that's how I'm going with it. The oldest to the newest. They're the most recently added to my TBR.
Mine is kind of just like ones that I am least surprised I took off my TBR, ones I am most surprised. I feel like that's the only way I could really... Partially because I wasn't willing to look up which ones were the oldest. I mean, I know which one is the oldest. But that's
I was like, I just sorted it that way on Goodreads.
I did not think of that.
Well, shall we go straight into it?
Let's get into it.
Alright. Number 5.
My number 5 is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've actually read it before, but it was in high school for like a class, and I did not like reading it. Partially because someone was making me read it, and I've never been very good at doing that. I reread Wuthering Heights recently, and I know that it is not the same. But I did not enjoy it, and frankly, I don't really have enough time left in my life to reread books that I don't think I liked the first time and probably won't like the second time. I'll just rewatch that one movie version of it with Mia... very hard to pronounce last name, starts with a W.
I don't know.
Wasichowski, something like it's a Russian sounding name. I don't know.
I don't either.
Maybe I'll put it in the doodly-doo. Maybe. You know the one I'm talking about.
I really don't.
You don't know any movies.
Yeah. My number 5 is Day by Day Armageddon by J.L. Bourne. I was just messing around on Goodreads looking for stuff that I thought looked good, and I was in a particular mood that day, I guess, and it looked good, and then the library didn't have it, and I actually think I might have had problems finding it on Amazon. I don't remember. I added it back in 2012, and honestly, I've never really been interested enough to try and track it down since then, so I finally got around to cutting it for my TBR. All of these were removed from my TBR for this video, admittedly. I don't remove things from my TBR.
It just spawned a declutter of your list.
Yes.
You gotta be ruthless with those ones that have been on there a long time if you know you're not gonna read them,
Well, number 4?
My number 4 is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I read Sharp Objects and Gone Girl, and I gave them both, reasonable ratings. Not terrible, 3 of 5, something like that. But they were not my favorite kind of mystery, thriller type book. I don't know. Her writing is, misanthropic and just, bleak. And I mean, I don't know, I guess all mysteries and thrillers are kind of bleak, but it does not work for me, and I am just officially giving up on Gillian Flynn. I enjoyed the Gone Girl movie. She will just do her thing, and I will go on not reading her. And everyone will continue reading all her books.
My number 4 was Lockdown by Alexander Gordon Smith. I added it the same day as Day by Day Apocalypse, or Day by Day Armageddon. And honestly, same thing. It looked good at the time. I couldn't find it, and I have subsequently lost not all interest, I guess. I actually was briefly interested in reading it a little while ago, but it's nowhere high up on my TBR.
Too many books, too little time.
Pretty much.
I understand that. Well, what about your number 3?
Excuse me. My number 3, I actually feel a little conflicted about. It is Nod by Adrian Barnes. So there's a little bit of a story with this one, that we were at Barnes & Noble, and I just picked this book up and started flipping through it while we
Oh,
were...
I remember this book.
Yes, and started just like, reading through it as one does, trying to figure out if I liked it or not. And I did. And like, okay, so it's kind of a like disturbing, upsetting book though. And later I wanted to find it so I could like get it from the library, and I couldn't remember the name of it or the author. And actually, I couldn't even find it on like subsequent trips to Barnes and Noble because it was in like the new releases section, and I couldn't find it after. I don't know, and it took me months of like just randomly remembering that book and trying to figure it out until I finally found it. I found several books with similar plots, but anyways, and then honestly, by the time I finally did track it down, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't think I want to reread the first like third of this book. It was kind of like traumatic the first time, and so it's just kind of I decided to knock it off the list for now.
That's fair.
It's one of those that may end up back on my TBR at some point, but
you're not planning on it anytime soon.
No.
That's fair. My number 3 is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I was really excited about the book when I saw the cover and I knew the premise, but I liked the Love, Simon movie, but I have not read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and I'm honestly not going to. I already know the plot, and I'm just not gonna read it. Like, I'm not interested in it. I've missed the phenomena it's past, and I'm not interested in reading just the second book in a series either. Like,
who does that?
Yeah, and honestly, the reviews have been underwhelming for Leah on the Offbeat. There are a lot of other books about fat chicks I can read. I mean, not all of them are about... that's a spoiler. I won't say that. But there are a lot of other books that are coming out recently about fat chicks I would rather give my time to. So...
That's fair. So number 2. Number 2 for me is The Punch Escrow by Tal M. Klein. This was one that it sounded really interesting. I just, like, the library doesn't even have it as a book I can recommend to purchase as an ebook. Or like, I mean, like, it's not in their system at all. I think it's like indie published or whatnot on Amazon. And I may be wrong about that. I don't really remember. I didn't look at it too much before this video. But anyways, where I'm going with this is that it looked interesting. I added it to my to-read list. I couldn't find a copy. Are you noticing a recurring theme here?
If you can't get it at the library, he's not going to read it.
It's a rare book, but like, that I will spend money on that I have not read and cannot get through the library, that is not by an author that I already know that I like.
Hard
like
saying.
It's pretty much just ongoing series that I will just automatically hand over cash if I can't get it from the library.
That's totally fair. I feel the same way. I'm tired of using my book money and space on the shelf for anything that I don't know I'm going to like.
Yeah. I will occasionally splurge on like an ebook if it's like 99 cents or something, and
that's fair. It doesn't take up space and it's cheap, so.
Yeah, but I mean, because I rarely buy physical books anymore. But anyways, what's your number 2?
The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. It's one of the adult mysteries that she wrote. Honestly, I was really, really excited about it when I found out that J.K. Rowling was writing more stuff, but Rowling, I have a friend who would say that. Rowling, as in Pole. Or is it not? I have a friend who's always getting on to me about the fact that I go back and forth between those two pronunciations, but I can't remember right now. I'm just not that interested in reading her adult literature. I've heard a lot of negative things about how she talks about fat bodies in her adult books, and I do not know which one of them that the worst was in, and I'm not interested on stumbling across it. Honestly, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life, and honestly, I don't know. Like, I mean, I am always going to be there for Harry Potter, but I just don't know that I'm there for J.K. Rowling. Miss JK on other fronts right now. I feel guilty even saying that.
I understand that.
I'm uncomfortable right now.
Quick diversion. Number 1. Number 1 for
If
me.
you shake the camera, I laugh so.
Number 1 for me, which is my most recently added to my TBR that I decided to cut, is Farthing by Joe Walton. So this one, it got added to my list because there was a period in time where the only way we could get our daughter to nap was to put her in the car seat and drive around for a while. So on my days off, we'd have like an hour long just driving around city streets, and we would listen to podcasts turned down low because it was less likely to wake her up and all that. And we were listening to The Librarian is In, the New York City Public Library System.
The other podcast, the less famous one.
Oh, I didn't know there was more than one.
They have 2 of them, evidently. They always refer to themselves as the other podcast.
Ah. Well, anyways, they were talking about it, and it was one of the first books that I heard on that thing, and I got all excited about. It's just like, oh, librarians talking about books. This is so exciting. The reality is that it's just not really my thing, and I now looking at it outside of the enthusiasm of adding everything that they mentioned on the Librarian is In. I'm no longer really it looks good. It's, I'm not knocking the book in any way. It's just not really my wheelhouse. So I'm just kind of like, I'm really not going to get to this anytime soon, so.
I understand that. I've slashed a few that I've got recs from that podcast recently, just because I would add them in excitement and then realize I don't really want to read them. Going back and looking at them would be like, I'm not going to read this. My number 1 is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I really like that TV show a lot. I think it's amazing. I'm really behind because I've decided I'm going to wait so I can get all the spoilers before I watch it, because sometimes that show is intense. But I oftentimes can't enjoy something after I read the book because the book is just so much better. And I don't want to ruin that TV show for myself, because I've heard the books are very different, and I'm afraid I will like them better and ruin that show. And sometimes it is okay to just have a TV show you really like, and you don't have to seek out every form of media about it.
Well, honestly, the 2 things that come to mind there is, there's nothing that would prevent you from, 5 or 10 years down the road reading the books.
Exactly.
And by then, maybe they'll have actually caught up with the show.
Well, except for evidently the show has now departed drastically from the books. That's one of the reasons I decided to finally take it off the list. Because then I'm going to have these 2 conflicting...
I was just making a joke of how long he's taken to come out with the next book.
Okay, but if we're going to get on to somebody about how long it's taking them to come out with a book, maybe we should talk about Patrick Rothfuss.
I don't want
Let's
to.
not, yeah.
Yeah.
We're waiting patiently. We're joking. Take your time. Make it perfect.
She's waiting patiently. I don't occasionally check his blog and get mad that there's nothing about the book. But, anyways, that's neither here nor there.
It is late and we are tired.
It has been a hard day.
Sorry for the rambling.
So, I vote we just wrap this up.
Yeah, those were our top 5.
Goodreads and social media, as well as all the books that we mentioned, will be linked down in the doodly-doo. Give us a thumbs up. We would love to hear what just hasn't made the cut recently on your TBR and got the axe. So leave us a comment, and if you want to see more videos from us, hit subscribe. Bye.